Verse 3, do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit. Now there's a mouthful and worth 3 sermons. Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind. Look at this. This is for you, seminary students. This is for me, preacher. This is for you, faculty members. This is for you, administration. This is for all of y'all. Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, let each of you regard one another as more important than himself. That's a tough assignment. Doesn't mean just holding the door open so somebody else can walk in before you do. No, that's a courteous thing to do. There's a word borrowed from German for the pleasure we take in the disappointments and suffering of others. It's Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude is the basic principle behind 90% of reality TV. The opposite is a specific kind of jealousy. Listen to this. This is the story of your life in ministry. An acquaintance of mine had recently published a quite successful book and was getting both good reviews and healthy sales. As it happened, the author deserved all of this success because the book was well done, timely, and an important addition to the public debate. So I was depressed. A recent book of my own on a similar subject had not been nearly as successful. So watching the other author's celebrity was a bit like a root canal for my ego. I also had a decision to make. As it turned out, he was having a book signing party at a local Washington bookstore that evening. Should I go? The question made as much sense as, how would I like a hot, sharp stick poked in my eye? But I thought about it. Youth has its passion, but age has its bitterness. And frankly, I didn't like the way it felt. I don't know of any sin more subtle or more famous in ministry than envy. You'll fight it constantly unless you're really a cut above. To applaud the success of a classmate, to graduate and to know what kind of a classmate he or she was, and then to see that success wash over them when you really may have studied harder or maybe even made better grades. But success doesn't come to you like it comes to her or to him. And you're going to fight that. That ugly envy will emerge again and again and again until you finally look yourself in the mirror and say, knock it off. Don't do anything from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, regard each as more important than himself. And I close with these words. I'm a shell full of dust, made anew by an unseen power of grace. Yet I'm no rare object of valuable price, but one who has nothing and is nothing, although chosen from thee, of thee from eternity, and born again. I'm deeply convinced of the evil and misery of my sinful state, of the vanity of creatures, but also of the sufficiency of Christ. Now listen closely. When thou wouldest guide me, I control myself. When thou wouldest be sovereign, I rule myself. When thou wouldest take care of me, I suffice myself. When I should depend on thy providings, I supply myself. When I should submit to thy providence, I follow my will. When I should study, love, honor, trust thee, I serve myself. I fault and correct thy laws to suit myself. Instead of thee, I look to man's approbation. I am by nature an idolater. Lord, it is my chief design to bring my heart back to thee. Convince me that I cannot be my own God or make myself happy, nor my own Christ to restore my joy, nor my own spirit to teach, guide, and rule me. Help me to see that grace does this by providential affliction. For when my credit is God, thou dost cast me lower. When riches are my idol, thou dost wing them away. When pleasure is my all, thou dost turn it into bitterness. Take away my roving eye. Take me to the cross and leave me there. How grateful we are for the cross. Lord, change is in order, and I'm first in line. After all these years of knowing you and walking with you, I'm just now learning some of these things. And I'm ashamed to admit that I'm like a juvenile in some of these things. I'm just learning them. And you've been faithful to work with me all these years. You've used 4 kids and 10 grandkids in my life. You've used affliction and confrontation from brothers and sisters. You've reproved me, and I'm just now getting it. Give me a few more years, Lord, to live it out. I'd like to show you how much you mean to me. Keep me at the cross, where change comes only from you. Change my heart. Change my motivation. Change my life. In the name of Jesus.